How's it going, guys? So this week on the PhantomCave YouTube channel, we're going to be taking a look at the part 10 of the old Phantom comic collection. So we've got the Witch Hunt, we've got the Moot Avenger, and we've also got the Highland Murders that we're going to be having a look at this week on Saturday. So stick tuned and we'll get into the video. So for the first comic that we're going to be having a look at is the Witch Hunt. So the issue number for this issue is number 1313, and of course this is episode part 10 of the episode 10 of the old Phantom comic collection. So we're going to be starting off with the Witch Hunt. So what is the Witch Hunt? What does it do? And what are we going to be talking about this week? So we have, obviously, all these comics are going to be published in the Jim Shepard publication era. And he did what? He did a lot of things for the Phantom. He obviously kept the Phantom going for what? 20 odd years. And still is like a legend in the business, even though he's already gone. So yeah, he's a legend in the business. We all know he's a legend in the business. And yeah, let's get into the story. Let's talk about some things. And let's have a look at some great stories. So the artist for this one is, I'm guessing, Joan Boyce? Yeah, Joan Boyce. Yeah, he's a great person. Hope that I get to interview him at some point on the channel, hopefully. Yeah, like in the next couple of weeks we're going to be having interviews. Next week, we're going to be having two reviews come out, which is going to be as exciting as it's going to be. And then in the next couple of months we've got some great stuff coming out for the Phantom fans. We've got new reviews, new part series, new part episodes for the new series, and a lot more. And I'm hopefully hoping to get a interview with a special person, which I'm not going to say who it is. I need to work out what I got to work out, and obviously try and do it. But yeah, the Witch Hunt. So I'm guessing if you've seen movies on the big screen saying, oh, witches aren't real and witches were burned at stakes in olden days. Well, that could have happened. I'm not too sure about the research part of it, but I'm not that sure about where we see like witches, or we see like, even if we see a witch, because Halloween's coming up. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. We've got the story. Firstly, we've got a story done by Klaus Roy Murphy. We've got a art for the story by Joan Boyce, which he's an amazing person. I'm going to say it again. He's an amazing person, an amazing artist, amazing artwork in general. And one of the things he does really well, which a lot of people actually say, is his horror stuff. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of horror stuff, but when you get to have a look at his artworks when he does his horror stuff, oh, it's scary, alright, it's scary, and all that sort of stuff. I think we might have to do something with this book, because it's the witch, like it's Halloween inspired or something. It's like relatable to Halloween. So I'm pretty sure I did a live stream or some sort of video last year or the year before for Halloween, and yeah, I'm not too sure if I'll do one this year. Obviously I've got to try and make time for, I've got to make sure that I've got enough time to review books, and then that means I then don't run out of time coming up to my Christmas break, which is only couple of months away, which is scary. And it's scary how the world and time and all this time you've spent doing all these things, and then half the year goes like that. It's amazing, but it's very scary that when we're nearly to the end of 2021, like I remember stuffing up a video at the early stages of 2021, like I was saying 2020 or something, and yeah, it's just amazing but scary at the same time that we're more than already halfway through 2021. It's just scary. And yeah, like I have my birthday in like the 8th month, so that's scary in its own. So yeah, and I do like where we get these phantom stories. I know I've said a lot of the times on the channel I love my Sweden stories, because when I was basically just starting out my collection on the Phantom, this isn't, well, it is related to this because this is obviously probably a 7th story, 7th press story, but when I was actually starting my collection off, which was I started collecting the Phantom in 2016, well, one of the first stories I would have read was either an Italian story or it would have been a Sweden story. So basically, back in those days, 2016 is only 5 years ago. So what am I saying? Back in those days, oh, I'm not that old, and all that sort of stuff. That's a bit funny, me saying back in those days. Yeah, it's pretty amazing that we get to have these comics, a new story each fortnight, and in Australia that is. So this comic that we're going to be talking about right now is the Moot Avenger. So as you can tell, you can probably tell on a couple of these issues that they have those price tags on them. Now these books I bought from a collectible shop. So well, I bought last year I bought like what 20 or 15 odd comics from this collectible shop that I was obviously on holidays, and I was basically, I love this shop. It's good, but it's sometimes expensive, because say if you buy 20 odd comics of like Phantom, then it would cost like 40 or 60 odd dollars in Australian. So yeah, it's good. It's a good shop. Most of you may know the shop I'm talking about, and even if you don't, it's a great shop. I love the shop. Just sometimes it's quite expensive to buy like 15 or 10 comics in just one go, and plus you gotta figure out your money as well. So yeah, and this story, I'm guessing done by Felmang or Caesar. Going a bit crazy there. Who's Highland Murders? Oh, I don't think I rarely read his stories. But anyways, if I do read his stories, or half the stuff I don't even remember, or half the stuff, and it just goes in the collection, and I guess gets stored or it gets reviewed at some point. Yeah, plus I was just saying how I buy these, well, even in each time Saga got up to my holidays, which usually is at my birthday time, which is the 8th month, and Christmas time or something. But usually I'd buy quite a few. Usually it's pretty expensive when you try and buy quite a few when you're like a young kid like me, and you're a young kid like me, and basically you either have money on you, or you basically have your money on you, and you're able to spend that much, or you get restricted by your budget. You get restricted by your budget on buying Phantom comics. Yeah, it's a thing, people. It's a thing. And yeah, because this story, it's done by Highland Murders. I'm not too sure if I pronounce your name there, mate. Right there, mate. But again, great. I haven't actually read these stories. Again, I'll say that right now. I haven't read them. But again, they look great. They look like great stories. They must be great stories. And I think I'll have to read this, and some of the books in my collection I have not read. Some of the books, they're just there, they're in the collection, they're basically getting stored in these boxes, and and something else happens. Nah, it's okay. At least I've got, if I'm like running out of time, or if I haven't even got a Phantom book to read, I'll actually sometimes I'll either pick up a Batman story, which I've been reading the White Knight, Batman White Knight. I've been reading in the last couple of weeks, in the last month or so, and it's the same with the Phantom. So if you've got like a Phantom comic that starts out with the Chronicles, I absolutely love it when they do that. But then if you've got a Phantom story that just starts with a generational Phantom, again, I love that. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that say, why should a Phantom story technically start off with, say, a generation intro compared to why it should start off with a chronicle, from a story from a chronicle book. I love how stories when they get published in the Phantom, or a Sweden story gets published in Australian issue, I love how you're reading a Phantom story, but you're also taking in the experience of the story, you're taking in the experience of the artwork, and it's so cool. I love reading the Phantom. You probably already know that already, but yeah, we've got the third and last comic that we've got today is the Highland Murders. So we've got the number for the last issue was 1331, and this issue is 1336, and the cover for this issue, amazingly, is one of my favourite artists called Antonio Lemos. If you're out there, mate, hopefully you're staying safe, and yeah, you're doing a great job, basically. And you're still one of my favourite artists, obviously, and yeah, let's move on. So back in those days, we had few annuals, and yes, this is still a Jim publication, Jim Shepard publication. So I've actually got that one. I might not have that one. I got that one. I think I've got that one, and I think I've got the 2001 issue, which was done. That was shown in the part 9 of the series. So yeah. Oh yes. This is what I talk about. Like, if you've got a story that starts off with the Chronicles, or if you've got a story that starts off with say like a generational Phantom, and has a sort of history vibe to it, or a historical vibe to it, usually I would like those stories, and this is a prime example of how a story starts off either in the Chronicles, or if a story starts off with a generational Phantom. So yeah, so this is basically a good example of that. We have obviously the Phantom, he's talking to Gurin, they pick up a story out of the Chronicle, and we reach the story in, I'm guessing, one of the old centuries where you had to wear like those pirate hats or something. And I'm guessing that's either probably 15th or 16th century, I think. I don't know. I'm not that much of I know a lot about a lot of things, but history may not be one of them, but I do know a lot about a lot of things. And that's where most of the relatable Phantom stuff that I actually know will possibly come out in these videos that I do. Like, I know that there was I was watching this YouTube video a couple of months ago, and there's this, so we obviously had the assassination of President Lincoln, but did you know that I think there was 4 or 5 other assassinations, one being that the JFK assassination, which is, you'd think would be famous, but also there's this guy that was I was watching on YouTube, and this guy was, what, he was like 5 or 6 years old when he experienced and saw the assassination of President Lincoln. He then went on to see probably all 3 or 4 other ones, and in the space of his lifetime, he saw like 4 or 5 different assassinations. Now you'd think, why is this guy at the same location that those presidents had been, and could you bring him as a suspect, or could you bring him as a witness? And a lot of times he would be a witness because there would be suspicion that he may have done it, and because he didn't actually do it. Because there was the TV show that this guy actually went on, which was, I think, it was an old 1950s, late 50s, I'm pretty sure, TV show, and it was, I can't remember what it was called, but it was very interesting how this person had seen 4 or 5 assassinations, and obviously he died, he passed away in, I think at age 100 or 99 or something, in his late 90s. And it's pretty interesting that we actually get to see these people that are witnessed certain events that could change or alter other the history. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. If this guy had basically lived a little bit longer, he would have could have seen the assassination of JFK. I think it's, let's just go with JFK. Yeah, so the last one, it was president, which he would have seen, which could have been President Kennedy. That's him. Got him now. Yeah, and I just think it's interesting. You've got someone that's seen all these assassinations. They could either be a witness or a suspicion on what they were doing at that time, and I just think it's interesting to see all this fold out and to watch old TV shows from like the 50s, 60s, 40s and 30s, and that's why this Sunday and this, like in the next 15 weeks, we will obviously be releasing the 1937 Dick Tracy serial, so that's going to be pretty cool, and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, as I said earlier, I didn't actually read these comics, so it's pretty amazing. The artwork again is pretty amazing. The story obviously looks pretty amazing, and back in those days in 2002, next issue was going to be on sale in the 1st of November 2002. It was a new story, The Patrolman Weeks Suspended. Ooh, I wonder what that's about. And the story was written by the legendary Klaus Murphy, who unfortunately passed away this year, which is sad, and obviously Roy Mann, which I think Roy Mann is an acronym to, I think, Ramando Fellman or something. or something like that filming. So if you would like to basically support Phantom Cave reviews, and as always, you can support Phantom Cave reviews by subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting if you have any comments for these books, and I'll get those questions answered to you as quick as possible. And as always, keep Phantom Caving, and we'll see you next week on the Phantom Cave YouTube channel.